Alright guys, what's up everybody? It is Halomcr here, and I have some more G4 news for you guys. Just when I thought it was pretty much over at this point, more G4 news pops up. I love it. G4 TV hit with major layoffs less than a year after coming back. Well, who would have ever thought? Who would have ever thought yelling at your audience and telling them that if they don't agree with your political standings or if they don't agree with your woke agendas, then who would have ever thought that G4 was going to come to an end? Well, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It looks like the imminent downfall of G4 TV is pretty much imminent at this point. Layoffs all around. Everybody's getting laid off. They're done messing around. They're getting rid of the trash. And I hope that starts with Frost, Kern, Black. And I also hope that starts with Adam Sessler. Those two in particular are the ones that really screwed the pooch for G4 TV. G4 TV hit with major layoffs less than a year after coming back. The home of X-Play and other shows now on Twitch's face big cuts. Excuse me. The home of X-Play and other shows now on Twitch's faces big cuts. At least somewhere between 20 to 30 staff members were laid off at G4 TV today. According to 3 sources familiar with the business, the video game talk show network from the 2000s was resurrected last fall on the streaming platforms like Twitch, as well as cable television, but now faces major upheaval less than a year later. I truly cannot imagine the company continuing to produce or slate of content without the people we lost today, said one employee. Well, as much as I feel bad for them because G4 really was something special, I mean, what do? I mean, you have woke feminist Frost, Kern, Black going around telling people, if you don't agree with us, then you're not a gamer. And then Adam Sessler just basically shoehorning political bullshit all over Twitter. Off and on. For many years now, he's been doing it. And people had enough. People literally had enough of that shit. They came to G4 TV for video games, and you guys did a good job of alienating your guys' audience right off the get-go. You alienate them. You basically tell them if they don't agree with your guys' political standings or your guys' woke agendas, then they're not gamers. Then they're not allowed to watch your television. So whoever thought that was a great idea needs to be fired first. And I'm sure it was Adam Sessler and Frost just talking to each other, thinking, oh man, this might be the best thing that we could do for our channel is to alienate our audience. Well, obviously that's not the case. Obviously it completely backfired on them, and now people are getting laid off. People are now losing their jobs because of this stunt that G4 TV pulled, and it'll probably be shut down here pretty soon. I could imagine it needs to be rebranded. It needs to have different hosts. It needs to have hosts that just aren't Adam Sessler or Frost, please, for the love of God. The timing and severity of the cuts took staff by surprise. It took staff by surprise. How would that have taken you guys by surprise? How would you have not known that this was going to happen doing the shit that you guys did? It just doesn't make any sense. It took staff by surprise. Well, I mean, I don't need to be a rocket scientist to know that if you tell your audience that they're not allowed to watch this because they don't agree with your agendas or they don't agree with how you think, how is that not going to backfire? I mean, how does that take the staff by surprise? What it should say is, well, we knew it was coming. Let's pack up, you guys. We gave it our best. Not really. You guys didn't give it your best, because if you did, you would have never did this. You would have never told your audience that if they are Republicans, that they can go drink piss and die. It's just that simple. Or you wouldn't have had Frost come on and say, Sexism in video games, sexism in gaming, but then turn around and have a Manarant basically sucking hot dogs on your guys' live platform for views. Or showing like half-naked women for views. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's the hypocrisy of everything that has finally imploded essentially on each other. None of their ideas are working. And now people are going to be losing their jobs. The timing and severity of the cuts took staff by surprise, with talent showing up on set today ready to film, only to have programming canceled as HR reps met individually with employees. While it's not clear what the extent of the layoffs will be, one source said those affected were told they would receive anywhere between 16 weeks and 6 months of servants based on their tenure with Comcast G4's parent company. G4 TV tweeting today, due to unforeseen circumstances, all G4 streams today have been canceled, but we will return with our regular scheduled content tomorrow. 3 sources tell Kotaku that G4's finances have been in bad shape for some time, and managers were tasked with looking for cost savings wherever possible. Things apparently came to a head during an all-hands-on meeting a couple of months ago when the G4 president, Russell Aarons, discussed the troubles the business was facing and proposed unrealistic revenue goals for the year ahead. Staff felt blindsided, one source said, due to a lack of clear goals for measuring success against up to that point. Aarons left shortly after and was replaced by Comcast Spectre executive Joe Marsh, who sources say was only interested in finding ways to slash the budget. The suddenness and severity of today's layoffs were unexpected, however, and call into question what the future of new G4 will be. The network just recently announced a slate of new content, including a satirical X-Play show called God of Work. God of Work? God of Work. That does not sound exciting to me at all whatsoever. God of Work. Why would it be called God of Work? Because they're going to have to bust their ass to get their show back in order? God of Work? A play on Sony's hit God of War series. I mean, obviously, that's what it was supposed to be in reference to, but yeah, that does not sound exciting at all whatsoever. Originally launched in 2002 by Comcast, G4 was the only outlet for gaming news, reviews, and discussion on TVs at the time. Well, it was until they made it apparent that if you have a different political view as they do, if you don't agree with their woke agendas, then again, you're not a fan of X-Play, and you're not allowed to watch this show. You are only allowed to watch this show if you agree with their narrative. If you agree with everything that they tell you, by all means, welcome to G4 TV. But if not, how dare you watch this show? How dare you be a fan? And that's what they're basically telling people. Was the only outlet for gaming news, reviews, and discussions on TV at the time. Its main shows were X-Play, hosted by Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb, and Attack of the Show, hosted by Olivia Munn and Kevin Pereira. Those shows were eventually canceled in 2012, and the network closed down a few years later as gaming video content migrated online. The network then relaunched in November 2021 with a mix of old and new talent, as well as plans to stream daily content on Twitch and other platforms, in addition to being host on cable. In addition to Sessler and Pereira returning new hosts, including pro wrestler Austin Xavier Woods, Watson Indiana Frost Kern, Black Jared the Completionist, Kali Land, Fiona Nova, and many others. The relaunch was reportedly the brainchild of Tucker Roberts, the son of Comcast CEO Brian Roberts. Tucker led the cable and internet company's move into esports and is currently the president of the competitive Overwatch team Philadelphia Fusions. According to one source, however, Tucker stepped away from G4 operations back in March. G4 host Fiona Nova and Case Blackwell went live at 2 p.m. on Twitch Thursday for the latest episode of The Feedback and addressed the layoffs, reassuring viewers that while close colleagues have been laid off, there were no plans to scale back the channel's programming. What I will say is, yeah, we lost some really talented and amazing people that honestly are family to us, Nova said. We were all crying. We were all devastated. I mean, yeah, I could see it obviously being a very sad time. I mean, I get it. It's definitely upsetting to know that all your colleagues are being fired. But how can you guys act this surprised? How did you guys not know that this was going to happen? And the question that we all have is, did you fire Frosk? Did you fire Adam Sessler? Did you get rid of the actual problem with the network? And just to say that it's Adam Sessler and Frosk alone, it's not just them alone. It's their whole idea. It's their whole agenda thing that they're pushing. They need to make it back to where anybody is welcomed, regardless of political view or not. It needs to be a place where anybody can come to. And it needs to not be a hypocrisy ground of doubling down and then shooing your audience away and then having them come back, you know, just this back and forth shit. You know, it needs to be set in stone that this is a network for everybody that's allowed. Everybody. I mean, everybody. That's what I mean. It should be a network allowed for anybody and everybody and anything to watch if they don't want to lose viewership. But, I mean, until they get rid of Adam Sessler and Frosk, I don't see myself watching this shit. Maybe if they were to fire them and actually do what needed to be done a long time ago and show me that they actually do care about their audience and that they are sorry for what they did, there could be a chance I would watch G4 again, because I miss watching G4. I just can't watch it based on the principle alone that they continue to have Frosk and Adam at the helm of the show. I'd rather not. I'd rather not watch it anymore and let them sink and swim then if they can't even grow the balls to get rid of the garbage that caused all of this trouble for G4, essentially. She was referring to the latest episode of Attack of the Show, which would have aired normally on Wednesday. She stressed that the scheduling changed had nothing to do with the lacking the necessary staff to keep producing it. At the end of the day, nothing was changed. We are all literally going to be doing the same amount of content we've been doing last November. Nova said, we're growing and this is what growth looks like. It has its up and downs. This is not what growth looks like. This is not what growth looks like. That is an understatement. So there you guys have it. G4 TV wants you to think that they're just going through a downward spiral right now. They're going through a slope. Oh, we'll get through this. We'll get through this. But until major things are done, until new people are hired, until the whole agenda of what G4 really stands for is changed, and anybody is welcome to watch G4, I just don't think I see anybody really even caring about this shit no more. Nobody cares about G4 TV. We all did at one point, but since they screwed the pooch on that, you know, everybody just kind of wants to see G4 get shut down. I personally, I would hate to see it get completely shut down, but I mean, if that's what it takes to send a message then so be it. You know, screw G4 TV. Until they can admit their mistakes and they apologize to their fans and they make things right. I mean, G4 will just end up inevitably just shutting down. Nobody's going to care anymore. And that's all there is to it. And now with employees being laid off left and right, I mean, what did you expect? What did you expect? You know, it just goes to show you that, you know, even G4 is so disconnected with their audience that they don't even know what they like anymore, or what G4 really was all about in the beginning. For now, what G4 is just garbage. It's just trash TV, a bunch of woke ass shit all the time being shoved in my face, and that's it. That's literally it. So as more G4 news comes about, I'll be sure to cover it on the channel. Other than that, that has been your guys' G4 update this morning. I hope everybody has a beautiful morning. I hope everybody is doing good other than that. And I'll be sure to bring you guys more G4 news as it comes my way. So I appreciate it. For those that have made it to the end of the video, to leave a like or to consider commenting or subscribing. I appreciate it, everybody. I hope you all have a wonderful morning though. And I'll be sure to cover anything more G4 for you guys as it comes to fruition. All right, take it easy, everybody.